I caught my wife having an emotional affair. We're both 38 years old, she and I have built a life together over the past 7 years, 5 of which we've been married. We're proud parents of 2 energetic toddlers, and our family has always been our top priority. Lately, however, that very foundation has been shaken by a discovery I never saw coming. It happened on an ordinary day when we were heading to the drive-thru for a quick meal. As I pulled up the discount app on her phone, a simple act meant to save us a few bucks, I caught a glimpse of something unexpected. A preview of a text message flashed on the screen, and my heart sank as I read a comment from another man. The message wasn't subtle. It made a crude reference to my wife's breasts, and the sender was 45 years old. In that moment, a mix of confusion and hurt surged through me. I was aware that this man existed in her past, and while I had always had a nagging suspicion that their history might be more than just friendship, I never had concrete evidence. I'd never snooped through her phone or questioned her trust until now. Before I could finish what I was about to type or decide on my next move, my wife reached over and tried to snatch the phone from my hands. Her sudden, almost desperate move was enough to tell me that she knew I had seen more than she intended. I saw just enough of the ongoing text conversation to know that this wasn't a one-time innocent mistake. The messages were laced with contempt for me, derided me as a father and a husband while also alluding to our shared, intimate past in a way that was impossible to ignore. The tension in the car was palpable. I reluctantly set the phone aside, deciding that we would wait until we got home to discuss what I had discovered. Once home, emotions were running high. I took her phone once more, determined to get to the bottom of the situation and see the full conversation. Again, she tried to wrest it away from me, her protests echoing, "You're acting crazy." In that moment, I felt a deep conflict. On one hand, I wanted to trust her word. After all, she is the love of my life, and we've weathered our fair share of storms together. On the other hand, the evidence before me spoke volumes, and I couldn't simply ignore it. After much hesitation, she finally relented. The conversation on the phone revealed messages dating back about 6 months, but the references within them suggested that events had occurred before that period. Just a month before these texts began, I had been out of town for a couple of days, in absence that now took on a new, painful significance. In her reluctant admission, she mentioned that this other man had even proposed coming over on one occasion when I was at work. Instead of directly admitting infidelity, she explained that she was feeling depressed and profoundly lonely. What struck me most was that not one of her excuses included a declaration of commitment, such as, "I would never cheat on my husband." There was an undeniable gap between her words and her actions, a gap that eroded my trust completely. As I absorbed the weight of these revelations, it became clear that we were dealing with more than just a fleeting mistake. It was an emotional affair that had been simmering beneath the surface for far longer than I'd imagined. I couldn't shake the feeling that her initial attempt to hide the messages was an implicit admission of guilt. Yet, even as I processed my hurt, I found myself grappling with a deep internal conflict. I love her deeply, and over the years, we have built countless memories and overcome numerous challenges together. I had even sought therapy to deal with the stress and anxiety of trying to keep a roof over our heads and provide for our family. I believed that becoming a better partner through therapy was a sign of strength, not weakness. In contrast, she had always shied away from seeking professional help, preferring instead to bottle up her emotions. Now, standing at a crossroads, I am left with an agonizing dilemma. On one side, I feel an overwhelming urge to leave, to walk away from the betrayal, the lies, and the pain. If we didn't have children, I might have already packed my bags and walked out the door. But the thought of uprooting our family, of explaining to our kids and everyone around us why our home has suddenly become a battleground of trust, fills me with dread. I want to fight for our marriage, to salvage the love and commitment that once defined us. But I also realize that rebuilding trust is a two-way street. Without her active participation and honesty, there's little hope for healing. In our recent conversation, she offered a glimmer of hope. She agreed to attend marriage counseling and even consider individual therapy for herself, a step that, in my mind, could be a meaningful move toward mending our fractured relationship. She even went as far as saying that I could check her phone whenever I wanted, a seemingly transparent gesture intended to reassure me of her newfound commitment. Furthermore, she claimed to have deleted him from all social media accounts and blocked any form of contact. Yet, despite these promises, the damage was done. Trust is a delicate thing, and once broken, it takes time, genuine effort, and complete honesty to restore it. I now find myself in a state of deep uncertainty, feeling lost and heartbroken. There's a constant battle between the part of me that wants to forgive and the part that can't help but question every word she speaks. I'm caught between the pain of betrayal and the hope for redemption. My heart aches with the realization that while I may have been blinded by love in the past, I can no longer ignore the truth of her actions. With 2 young children depending on us, leaving her isn't as simple as it might seem. Every day, I grapple with the aftermath of this discovery, trying to decide whether to let the past define our future or to fight for a second chance. I want to believe that this misstep was a cry for help, a misguided attempt to fill the void of depression and loneliness, and not a prelude to a more serious betrayal. I want to have hope that, through counseling and honest communication, we can rebuild the trust that once made our marriage strong. For now, I'm left with more questions than answers. How long did this emotional affair truly last? What was the depth of her feelings for this other man, and what did she envision for our future together? These questions haunt me. But one thing remains certain. The path forward will require both of us to confront our vulnerabilities and work tirelessly to repair the damage done. I love her deeply, and despite everything, I'm not ready to give up on our marriage. But I also know that healing will require more than promise. It will demand unwavering honesty, effort, and time. As I stand at this precarious juncture, I realize that every marriage has its trials. Yet, not all betrayals can be easily forgiven. I want to have hope. I truly do. I'm also painfully aware that trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Only time will tell if our love can withstand this storm, or if we are destined to part ways, forever marked by the scars of this painful revelation.